So KDE Plasma has been getting quite popular over the past couple of years in the Linux space as a popular desktop environment, and so the KDE devs have been working really hard to bring out their next version of Plasma, which is Plasma 6, and I've been using it for the past couple of weeks on my laptop and on my computer. It's been a pretty rocky ride, I would say, with tons of bugs in the desktop and tons of features that are like rolling out and getting fixed and released, and it's all this huge process that soon, Plasma 6 will come out in February. But I wanted to show you guys Plasma 6 Beta 2, which came out a couple of days ago, and just show you guys some of the new features, if you haven't seen them yet, of what they're doing, what they're changing, and how they're improving Wayland support as well on the desktop. So before this video starts, I would definitely give a like on the video if you do appreciate that the work that I do on some of these videos. And also you can definitely can subscribe to the channel. We are like 30 subs off from 2k subscribers, which is insane. And of course I want to thank everyone that has joined this channel over the past year and has cool ride to join Linux and start doing Linux videos and then progressing to that. It's just really cool to see that there's a lot of people that want to learn about Linux and Linux gaming as well, and there's a pretty big community behind it, so thank you. So if you want to get KDE Plasma 6, the one way of doing it is you can go to the KDE Neon, which is the official Linux distribution where the KDE developers like to release the latest KDE Plasma features and their applications. So I'm pretty sure you can get unstable now, and it will include the Plasma 6 beta. Before you needed the developer edition, but you should be able to just grab unstable now, since like I said, it's in beta. So one of the first things that you might notice with Plasma 6 that they decided to change was the panel. And if I remember correctly, the discussion they had about this was, I don't know, like it was kind of similar to how Windows looked, where there, it was just a panel, and people were saying like KDE copied Windows or whatever, when actually Windows copied KDE. So they decided to make the dock a floating dock. So now it looks similar to, I don't know, like Mac OS, I guess, even though it's not, it's like nowhere near. But yeah, there is a floating dock now, and this brings a couple little issues so far. One is when you maximize a window. This, as you can see, the panel likes to try and move itself to here. Before beta 2 and beta 1, it was the other way around, where the Plasma icon had a little gap between it, and that's when you'd maximize, it would do that. But now it's the opposite. So now they tried to fix it by pushing it to the side, but then they create this gap, which actually is because this is maximized. So you can actually see what actually happens is it creates a little gap where you can see your wallpaper on your desktop. So that's a little neat bug that they're going to have to fix down the line. Hopefully they do. If they left it like that, that would be kind of dumb, but it seems like a work in progress, I would say. But one of the other things is that you can now customize the dock. So as before, you could do it before, but the panel settings itself have been changed, have been redesigned. There's all different types of things that you can do. So you can set the position, you can set the alignment, the length, the visibility, the opacity, and the style. So if you don't like floating, you can just simply turn this off and it'll go back to its original style, where it's just a panel instead of the panel floating. Or you can change the, like I said, the opacity, all this stuff. I'll show up screenshots of what it looked like before on the old one. You'll kind of see what I'm getting at. It was a bit different, but this is actually a really good change, as I thought the other one before was quite, not necessarily confusing. It's just like when you first try KDE Plasma and you do these settings changes with the panels, it's a bit confusing, but after you get used to it, then it's fine. But I think this is a lot better for like new users. You get a simple understanding with little pictures as well, what all these actual settings actually like mean. Now the next redesign they started to do was the Discover store. So they decided to move the home installed update settings and about to the top, which I think is a lot better than what it was before, where it was on the bottom. And then they also have a pending merge, which is going to add a recently updated section on the home page. So as like on like the GNOME software store, they have a recently updated for different Flatpak applications, or even just like regular like Debian or RPM packages. So they're going to add that at some point. I'll see if I can find a screenshot of the design preview of what it looks like. I think it's going to be a nice addition. I'll also have some system updates as well. And I think one of the most best redesigns that they're doing, or kind of like restructuring, is the settings app, because in my opinion, opinion, Plasma 5 settings was quite muddled, I would say. It was all over the place when it came to where things were. And now that they decided to redesign it and actually put it in proper categories, I would say that its settings now on KDE Plasma is quite easy to understand for a normal user. I would say it's on par with GNOME now, where things are just organized properly and just laid out properly. So you got your input and output here at the top, you got your connected devices, you've got your internet, you got your appearance and style, you have your apps and windows, your workspace, your security and privacy, and your language and time, and then your system. So overall, I think this is a hell of a lot better than what it was in Plasma 5. I'm super excited to see what else they do with it. There is a lot of things like in these categories that I'll talk about really soon. But yeah, overall, this is a really good change. So one of the problems I actually had with Plasma 6, every time that I used the settings app, I would always forget where the login screen and boot splash screen was, because I wanted to change my login screen, like add a different wallpaper or something like that. And I was always like, where the hell is it? But they've decided to move it to color and themes, which I think is awesome, and that just makes it a hell of a lot easier to go and find it. So now you can easily customize your login screen, which is SDDM, or your boot splash screen, which I don't think is really needed anymore, as computers wake up pretty quickly now, so I wouldn't use this. But for the login screen, really good to see that this is in color and themes now. They also decided to move nightlight to color and themes, which is, I guess, okay. I would have put it in display monitors, because it kind of, it changes it on your monitor, but I guess this is okay. I wouldn't forget where this is. That's pretty easy. But they also tried actually just redesign the nightlight like animation that it would show you. So if we set up a custom time here, it'll show you a little representation of when the nightlight will actually turn on and when it will turn off. And then, like, I guess this got changed a little bit. You can still change, like your different nightlight temperature. That all works properly. Now, one of the things that hasn't been brought into KDE Plasma 6 yet is the redesign of the breeze icon pack. So this is a pending merge that might come in like Plasma 6.1 or 6.2. It seems like looking through the discussion on the breeze icon pack merge, like the developers are discussing that not everything looks properly or like the same in the sense. So like some icons look a bit off to others, some look bolder, so they're trying to like decide which one actually is like the perfect match for the new redesign of the breeze icon. So that will come at some point. I was hoping it would come in Plasma 6, but that's no problem. The breeze theme is already fine, I would say. Now, one of the other things that people have been wondering when it's going to be supported is color profiles, or changing your color on your monitors. Now, this is not the same as it is on X11 still. This is still a little bit different. So they decided for now that they would implement ICC Color Profiles, which is just like a color profile you would put on your monitor that would apply. So you could apply like a different like sRGB color profile. I did try this on my laptop, and I was able to find some ICC color profiles, and it did work properly. But I don't really use color profiles that much. I think my monitor is perfectly fine. It's well saturated and the contrasting's fine, and there's no real big issues, I would say. And they also are adding HDR support in Plasma 6. This is a real thing that is happening. I know that's crazy, but HDR coming to Linux, what? But it hasn't showed up on my monitor, even though I have iHDR, or HDRI, which is like a fake HDR on my monitor. This does show up because I was running Fedora Rawhide, and that did show up in Plasma 6, but this one, for some reason, it doesn't show up. Maybe because of like it's running like an older kernel or something. I don't really know what the problem is, but I don't use HDRI because it's a really fake HDR that just doesn't look great at all. It doesn't look like real HDR. But that is a real thing that is coming. So if you do have a HDR compatible monitor, that will be able to work in the Plasma 6 desktop in February. One of the other things that they decided to move was the screen tearing, and this was because of the Compositor being removed. So they also removed the Compositor, so you can't change like the Wayland Compositor to be quicker, which I don't even know if it actually worked. Every time I changed it in Wayland, nothing seemed to really happen with the animations. So, or like latency wise, while in X11, which does still have the Compositor, that did, you could actually see a noticeable difference in latency and how X11 performs. So they removed the compositor and then they moved screen tearing into display monitor, which I think is a perfect place to put it, I would say. Now, one of the other things, if you haven't noticed already, is the breeze cursor got a redesign as well, which I think is a great redesign compared to the Plasma 5 cursor. Personally, I do like this one more because of the colors. So it's like a blue and pink for like the loading icon. I'll show you some images up. Like the top middle one is the Plasma 5 one, and the one on the top right is the Plasma 6 one. So you can decide which one you like more, and you can easily go and change it. I'm pretty sure it's still available. So if you go to color and themes and we go to cursors, no, it's not, but you could probably grab it from install from file or the store. You go get new, and it will just open up a store, and you can just go and find it if you don't like the Plasma 6 cursor, but I do like it. So, and there is a breeze light theme as well. So if you don't like the black and white, you can do the white and black. But overall, this is a good change. And one of the other things they decided to add was changing wallpapers. So they decided to add the wallpaper in the KDE settings, which is, I think, is a really good addition, because before it's quite confusing from going from GNOME, where you've got a wallpaper in your settings, to where you have to go to your desktop, and originally you still do it, you would have to do configure desktop and wallpaper to actually change your wallpaper, which is honestly fine. I had no issues with that, but adding a wallpaper setting as well into this is a good addition, and I think it's going to make users that are new to Linux coming over, they'll understand where to change their wallpaper. It will be in their settings, so they won't be that confused. Now, one of the issues that I've had with KDE Neon Unstable so far, and I think this is just because things aren't applied correctly on Unstable, that's why it's called Unstable, is like Flatpak applications. So if I show you, like, let's have a look here. If I show you Flatseal, for example, you got the cursor problem where the cursor is really big, and then you have the anti-aliasing problem. So in some Linux distros, I know like some Arch distros used to do this, where the anti-aliasing or something is like, or like there's like some type of blur that gets applied to the text, so it doesn't look really just like this, just weird, really sharp, I guess you could say. But yeah, that's one of the things is this problem, the cursor problem, and then also some apps don't resize properly, so this is still like small, and this happens on multiple GTK applications, and I think it's just because the theme isn't applied either. So if you go to like colors and themes, I had to change this manually, and it still didn't apply it correctly. So this is just a KDE Neon Unstable problem, because when I installed Fedora Rawhide the other day, it didn't have this problem. And same with OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, when I tried to install Plasma 6 on that, it didn't have that problem because those things were already applied. So it just didn't have that problem. But on here, it does seem to have that problem, and I think that will get changed at some point. Maybe if you go onto a different KDE Neon build, it will have those things fixed. But that's just one issue I had with KDE Neon Unstable. And also, like I said, like some apps like Firefox, the Breeze theme isn't applied correctly. So on here, it's got the GTK theme, but as you can see, my buttons up here are invisible. Only one that's available is the cross to close the application. So I have to like right click on the app to actually minimize the application. But that's really one of the only issues. And this, where it decides to do a little resize, which that wasn't happening on Fedora Rawhide, so I think it's just a KDE Neon problem with Unstable. So to the good part, which is gaming on KDE Plasma 6. So I did play a couple games, and I'll show some video clips of me just playing today and yesterday of some games that I played for a little bit before I switched back to my main distro, as it does have some problems that need to be addressed and fixed. As if they don't get fixed, I feel like new Linux users that come over who are from like Windows, for example, who want to play games, will have these issues when they try to run KDE Plasma Wayland. But overall, I think the gaming experience has been really good, because one of the problems I had with Wayland was that this happens on both GNOME and on KDE, is the mouse pointer speed feels completely off on when you turn acceleration onto none. So on X11, it feels really insanely like sensitive, I guess you could say. So it's really quick, and it's a bit faster than Windows, I would say, so it's a bit too sensitive. But On Wayland, it feels really slow and it almost feels like there's still acceleration. So often I would miss my shots when playing like FPS shooters, for example, which is not cool. I don't like when that happens. So KDE did merge something a while back in Plasma 6, which changed the pointer, like how the mouse pointer worked under Wayland. And now it's like basically on par with Windows in terms of like acceleration being on none. So I played tons of FPS games on it, and it feels amazing. I can aim like almost like the exact same with Windows. But one of the issues that I've had with the mouse cursor though, and this is only in some games, so I think from my research, I think the only game that I've had issue with was Apex Legends, as there's been an ongoing bug with KDE Plasma 5, where there is a wayland bug where the cursor can basically snap. If you're in an FPS game and you're with your gun, for example, it will shoot to the ground randomly. So that's not really good when you're playing an FPS game and then all of a sudden your character decides to shoot like at the ground because the mouse pointer like kind of like did a little weird like spin out. And at the first, like I thought it was a mouse problem. I was like, what the hell? And then I went back to X11. I was like, oh, it doesn't happen anymore. So that's been an ongoing bug that hasn't been fixed yet. But in Plasma 6, that bug doesn't happen. Or at least on beta 2, it hasn't happened to me yet. I remember in beta 1 and in the alpha builds, it did happen, but it seems like it is fixed. But then I discovered another issue where the cursor can escape your full screen or borderless or window mode in a game. So like the mouse, if you flick your mouse hard enough, the mouse cursor will just fling off into the second monitor. And I've recorded some footage, and I even have a KDE bug opened, and I'm waiting for it to get fixed. But it is an issue that I think needs to be addressed, as it happens in Apex, it happens in CS2, I'm pretty sure, but not many other games like Overwatch, Halo Infinite. Those games don't do that. The mouse cursor can't escape that. Or Battlefield 1 is another one, or BattleBit, that's another one. So really it's only like an Apex and like a CS issue. If anyone else in the comments, comment down below if you actually have had a similar issue in Plasma 6, Beta 2, on any other games where if you flick your mouse hard enough, you can actually push the mouse cursor out onto your second monitor, as it's just an ongoing thing that hasn't been fixed yet, and I hope that the KDE devs do fix it at some point. So overall, my experience with Plasma 6 so far has been, like I said, a pretty rocky ride. It's gone through a lot of changes and a lot of bug fixes, and I mean, this is just how it is with development. It is a beta, and before I was on an alpha, and that was like, like the dock would crash randomly, and that wasn't really cool. While, the beta, I would say beta 2 is a pretty solid, improvement from beta 1. So if you guys want to try it, definitely, if you have space, I would definitely create another partition and install, another distro. Or if you're on Arch or something and you want to test it with the Plasma 6 beta 2, I remember there is some bugs with the Plasma 6 beta 2 at the moment on Arch. I don't know if they've been fixed yet, but if you are on Arch and you want to install it, definitely go ahead and try and install it. You should already know how to install it since you do run Arch, as Arch Linux users are supposedly superior to everyone else. This is about does it for this video. I would definitely go check out the Plasma Weekly that just came out today. So if we go to the link here, I'll link it down below in the description. You guys can go read with some of the improvements that they've done. They've done some UI improvements, some redesign of the font management, bunch of other things you guys can go read. And that's it for this video, I would say. So if you guys want to give this video a like I said in the intro, you definitely can give it a like. If you came this far, I would definitely give this video a like. I would really appreciate it. Thank you for my supporters that I'll show up on screen now. Thank you so much for supporting me on my channel. I really do appreciate that as well. And of course, you can subscribe to the channel. We are almost at 2K subscribers, really close. If we can get it before Christmas, that would be awesome. And that's going to be it for today's video. I will see you guys probably in maybe like a week or two, something like that, as I kind of want to take a little break from making videos, just to do other things, hang with friends and family and such. So I will see you guys on another day, I guess. Peace.